The price of love. Ayla stood in the heart of the meadow, her fingers tracing the edges of an old, weathered stone, as she stared into the distance. The sun was sinking low, its fading light spilling over the landscape in shades of orange and pink. But it wasn't the beauty of the scene that held her captive, it was the memory of a love that had shaped her life forever. It all began on a day much like this one, with the world bathed in warm colors. That was the day she had met him, Rami. She had always believed that love was a rare spark, a fleeting moment that only occurred once in a lifetime, but Rami had shown her that love could be a constant, even in the most mundane parts of life. Their first encounter had felt like fate, as though the universe itself had conspired to bring them together. She had been sitting alone, reading a book by the stone bench, when Rami passed by. He had been running, his dark hair a bit disheveled, his eyes filled with a quiet intensity. He had given her a smile, a fleeting, casual smile, but it was enough to make her heart race in a way she had never experienced before. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. They spent their time walking through the meadow, talking endlessly about their dreams and fears. As the seasons passed, their bond deepened. One evening, under the very tree where they had first met, Rami took her hand in his and whispered words she had longed to hear, "I love you, Ayla." From that moment, their love became a journey neither could have foreseen. It wasn't always easy, life threw them curveballs, and they endured hardships, arguments, and distance. But through it all, their love never wavered. They grew stronger, supporting each other, learning to navigate life's storms together. The years slipped by, and Ayla could still recall the thrill of Rami's kiss beneath the tree. She had never imagined love could feel so enduring, like the roots of the tree itself, solid and eternal. But now, as she stood in the meadow alone, the wind tugging at her hair, she couldn't ignore the quiet sadness that had crept into her heart. Rami had changed. The man who had once sparked joy with a single glance was now distant, lost in the weight of his obligations. The walks they once cherished and the long, intimate talks had become rare, replaced by the overwhelming responsibilities of life. Ayla closed her eyes, remembering the warmth of his touch, the laughter they had shared, and the way Rami had held her when everything around them seemed uncertain. She missed him, missed the closeness they once shared. But life had a way of challenging them both, and the love that had once burned brightly was now overshadowed by unspoken words and unfulfilled promises. Her thoughts were interrupted by the sound of approaching footsteps. She turned, and there he was, Rami. Time had left its mark on him. His hair had grayed, his eyes less lively than they once were. But the warmth in his gaze was still there, a reminder of the man she had loved. "Ayla," he said softly, his voice tinged with regret. "I didn't think you'd be here." "I come here sometimes," she replied, her voice steady but her heart racing. "It's where it all began." Rami nodded, taking a step closer. "I've been thinking a lot about us, about everything we've been through. I know it hasn't been easy, but I still love you, Ayla." Tears welled up in her eyes as she took a step forward. I love you too, Rami. But it feels like we've drifted apart. I miss what we had. Rami reached out, taking her hand in his, and for the first time in what felt like forever, they stood there, beneath the tree. The years had changed them, but the love between them had never truly faded. It had simply been waiting for the right moment to bloom again. I don't want to lose us, he whispered. I want to rebuild what we had, step by step, if we need to. But I don't want to give up on us. Ayla smiled through her tears, her grip tightening around his hand. Neither do I. In that moment, with the golden light of the setting sun surrounding them and the soft rustling of the leaves at their feet, Ayla realized that love wasn't just about grand gestures or fleeting moments. It was about the quiet persistence, the moments when you chose each other despite everything that tried to pull you apart. It was about holding on, even when everything around you seemed to be changing. And as the last light of day vanished beneath the horizon, Ayla knew that their love, like the roots of the old tree, would endure, through every challenge, every change, and every quiet moment that came with it.